Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Show. You can check me out on Twitter at Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook, LinkedIn, Neil Haley, Instagram, Total Tutor, Pinterest, Neil Haley, and Google+, and also on Periscope at Total Tutor. And I'm excited to welcome the program, first of all, my co-host, Peter Elvidge. Peter, you got to jump in some more, man, but how are you from the Perseverance Network? We're doing live TV tapings and radio tapings today, and we hit it with two awesome guests so far, haven't we, Peter?
Oh, yes, we have, and I'm excited to hear about more guests, and yeah, I'm definitely going to jump more in, trust me.
I'm excited to welcome the program actress, celebrity Eve Austin. Eve, thanks for calling, and how are you?
Hi, I'm excellent. How are you?
Fantastic, Eve. And tell us, specifically your background in acting, and then we'll get into your latest projects.
All right. Well, I have been in the business, I would say, years. I am a baby boomer. And I did start late in life. I had family, children, and decided that this is where I always needed to be. And after a career in advertising, quite a major career at a very young age, I went into the business and never left because I love it so much.
So that's interesting. You talk about going to the business that early. You had a career, family, and then decided to jump into acting. Did you always have that acting bug, Eve?
I certainly did. And I always had a lot of people telling me that that is not a job for a nice girl. And that is just not something that you can, it's true that you can't depend on financially.
Right.
And so, to be honest, I take my hat off to all my colleagues that work so hard and have absolutely no way of knowing whether they're going to have a roof over their head tomorrow. And, I was very fortunate because I was married, and so it became a two-person household, so to speak.
Right.
My husband didn't have money when we met, but he was able to make money over time. And so I'm able to not be a waiter. And do this. And it's unfortunate, and there's nothing wrong with being a waiter, but it's certainly not an easy job, nor is it what people go into a creative field really want to be doing, necessarily.
Exactly. So when you decided to jump in, you had at least enough resources to be able to survive then. And especially
I had enough, and I was a chicken. That's why I say I take my hat off, because I don't know if you know the real numbers in the industry, but when you're a member of the union, about 3% of all of us work and make, let's say, $100,000 or more.
Okay.
And then this 97% in the union make less than $100,000, and usually, below poverty level. And here we have our union, and so 3% of people that you see in the movies and in television are just that, 3% of 100.
And just think of how much goes to the agent and everything before you know it. And that's why only a few are making a ton of money. And then you have...
No, that's not the reason. The reason is not the agents, because those poor agents are working for nothing to try to get you in there. And they only make money when you do. So, no, I'm talking about what you're walking away with in order to live.
Wow, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So there are no real, we just have to scramble for jobs. And 3% make all those millions that everyone thinks it's so glamorous and wonderful. And you can name them, That's it. That's the only people. And it's a huge industry. So it's a real dream, It's a dream. And if you have that dream and you have the wherewithal in terms of, you believe in your ability, you believe that you can do this, and we all are unique. We all have something to offer. So, I say, especially when you're children, it's a wonderful thing to let them get out of their system, because when you get older, there is a living to be made, and it's difficult. And they're very, very brave people in this industry, I believe.
difficult,
A very smart one.
difficult to survive. I understand for sure, and it's passion. I've talked to a lot of people that can make a lot of more money commercially or doing something else, but yet it's their
Right.
passion, it's their art, it's something they love to do every day, and they'll do it for
And how lucky
anything.
are we to have that?
Yeah.
Yeah, how lucky are we to have that passion? Many people look for their whole lives to have something like that.
Exactly.
Whether it's cooking or whatever it is, you know.
So,
Yeah,
Eve, what
very
would you
fortunate.
say in your career so far in acting has been some of the notable opportunities you had to work with certain people? Give us some heads up on that, and then we'll get into your latest projects.
Sure. I would say that the people that I love to work with are creative and they're very inclusive, and they create an environment where you feel you're one, whether you have a few lines, whether you're the lead, everybody is in a unit. And I recently had an opportunity to work on a film which has not gotten distribution yet, but they were kind enough to give us a screening to see what it looks like. And it's called American Fango. And it was produced by John Gallagher, who is a very proliferous filmmaker based in New York, but he's had films internationally,
Right.
all over the world. This particular one is international as well. Gabriele Altobelli directed it, and it's really a romantic comedy, but it takes place in Rome, New York, and L.A. And it's, you know, like a good old-fashioned story where you're rooting for the hero, and, you know, it's not a lot of root 'em up, shoot 'em up things.
Right, right.
Not that there's something wrong with it, but, you know, it's solid movie telling, maybe a little bit more on the European flavor. And what I love about it is just how everybody is a family unit when you're shooting and when you're filming. As I said before, it is why I'm here. You know, it's to create something and to get it out there and to do it in a manner where we're all inspired and creative and moving, you know, towards a common goal. And there's no divas, there's no
Yes.
nonsense. We're just creating, and that's what turns me on anyway. I don't think I answered your question.
No, I mean, you're
I've
interested
been
in a
on
way
many
of
big sets,
a
but-
project. One of your latest projects really motivates you, and then you like working with creative people. But what about like notable? So like as a working actress, I'm sure you've had opportunities to work with certain celebrities on different shows and different things. What like? Give us some of the notable shows that you've been on and you've done some work with.
Well, I mean, a lot of the shows that I was on television-wise were mostly soaps, you know,
Okay.
like soap work. A lot of my work has been in film. I have done work with, let's say I've worked with Leo DiCaprio
Oh, wow.
on Wolf of Wall Street. I had a small scene there. You know, these actors always surprise me. I find that they're mostly generous and kind, and the only thing that changes on a set is their method of working.
Right.
So when you're on a set with somebody, particularly that's a very well-known artist, and oh my God, director too, I really bow to. When you're on a set with these people, you know, basically you have to turn off all your ego and open up all your instincts,
Exactly.
capture what it is that they need from you, because basically you're really there as a worker. It's not socializing. It's not about that. Having said that many of the people that I have worked with are kind, and they're actually quite insecure as well. I'm not saying Leo is, but in general, you know, actors are really much smaller than we think they are. You know, they look so huge on the screen, and when you see them walking around, they look like tiny little people.
Right.
It's an amazing thing. But bottom line is, I know people want to hear about movie stars and all that, but bottom line is we're all, and, you know, and one has a job that may be a little bit more, you know, and personally, at least actors are doing something for their jobs, but let's say reality stars, you know, quote unquote, are doing except showing their bodies. So, you know, that is something that's, you know, a little sad about society today. You know,
And all the platforms now that people are making success on, yet not worked as hard as you are to train to be an actress. Or, you know, they might just do a YouTube show that's nothing involving any professional acting, and it goes viral and they become millionaires. Yeah, so I understand what you're talking about in the way the entertainment business
But, you know,
is
the
changing.
message is more my point. Yeah, the message is more my point, because it's okay to go viral with a good message.
Right,
Doesn't
exactly.
matter who you are or that you're not trained. But, you know, to go with hate message or even, less harsh, just a message about here I am and I'm going to do this.
Right.
You know, and that's like, who cares? You know.
Yeah, my co-host, my co-host and producer has a question for you, Eve. Eve, Peter, what's your question for Eve?
Yeah, so my question is, like, when you're doing different roles and you're playing different characters, what is something like that you put into your characters that's kind of from your own personal life or I guess aspect, or as you as a person, how do you put it into different roles, or what is it?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. You always want to be you in a different situation. So when you say, when they describe a character, you try to find the parts about you that are very similar to that.
Right.
And then you take a look at what is not similar to you, and you try to, well, at least I do, try to find a time in my life or a situation that made me feel that way.
Okay.
At the time, and when when you do that, your real truth comes out, but you have to practice it. It's like a sense memory, where you remember the smell and you remember the sight and you remember the whatever, and then the feeling comes back. So, but you don't look for the feeling; you just look for the event that kind of feels like or seems like. So God forbid it's like, a mother who's lost a child or something. Well, clearly you don't want to go there. Yes. So it could be, a loss. It could be a puppy. It could be a loss of a business. It could be something else. But bottom line is, how does it affect you? And then you bring that, and that is your own personal experience. You're not saying the lines for meaning. Right. That's the biggest mistake a lot of actors do. They mean it and they feel it, but it has nothing to do with them. It has to do with how they think it should be when they read it.
Now,
and so if you're in your own world, you're creating your own thing. I'm sorry. What?
That's okay. Okay, Eve, what latest projects you have right now? We have about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Latest projects. What's going on that you can promote? Yeah.
Okay. So I am doing something, and I'm particularly interested in the baby boomer market. That's the one that I'm in, which 76.4 million in the U.S. alone.
Wow. Okay.
Is the market. 80% of all the expendable income is in their hands, and there is basically, it's totally underrepresented. Right now, Grace and Frankie, which is Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, is doing very well on Netflix.
Yes.
So I created a series called Lola Does Manhattan about a woman who is a baby boomer, and all of a sudden she finds herself alone in the world.
Oh my!
And has to navigate, and it is a comedy. She constantly gets into trouble, and the reason she gets into trouble because she doesn't listen to her inner self, whose name is Heidi. And Heidi and Lola, like we all have an inner self that we don't like to listen to. It is really kind of a metaphysical comedy, because basically these girls are running around doing silly things and then paying the price or not, depending on which way it is. It's that Lola becoming an independent woman on her own and integrating her inner self and her outer self. In a minute, it's fast.
that minute's very fast. Best place we can find information on you. Eve, your website and things, we can find info on you. Where can we go?
Okay, eveaustin.net. That's my website. So all of the work that I'm doing should be on there, and I'm IMDb, like we all are, all our actor friends are, and certainly on Facebook under Eve Austin. Lola Does Manhattan has a website, but we're not releasing it, and eventually it's going to be a pilot. And I guess that's about it. eveaustin.net.
Excellent.
Thank you very much for letting me plug my own website.
You're welcome, Eve. Thanks for calling, and thanks for taking the time, and best of luck to you.
Pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Take care. So I'm excited to welcome Joseph Marone. Joseph, thanks for calling, man, and thanks for taking the time today to come on the Neil Hayes Show, simulcasted on my radio network. How are you?
That's my pleasure.
Awesome. Now, Joseph, again, tell us your background and then the interesting project you have coming up, which I'm excited to definitely chat with you about. But tell us what your trade is and what you currently do.
Mm-hmm. Well, the evolution of my trade, really. I'm a litigator out of the East Coast, Philadelphia, New York area. We have a law firm out here. We've been handling a lot of diverse cases for probably the last 20, 25 years in civil rights, high-end litigation, significant settlements. And we also get involved heavily into the entertainment world. We do a lot of TV and film. I work heavily, especially in the urban world, with some writers, producers. Okay. Recently, we're in the process of putting together a really significant movie and also a TV series for streaming through the Netflix project.
So, how did you get involved in working in the entertainment business as a lawyer? Like, did it first start out that's what you were doing in Philly, or does it just kind of evolve?
No, I'll tell you what. I started out as a criminal defense attorney. I was pretty prominent in the area, represented a lot of notable people. And a young man came to me who was on Death Row Records at the time. He was trying to get out of his contracts, and he was intertwined with a fellow by the name of Suge Knight. Yes. What had happened was Suge Knight was in prison at the time, and he needed representation because he got arrested in Philadelphia. So when he came to me, we sat down and we see if we can figure out a way to get him out of his contracts and start a new record label, and that's what we did out of Philadelphia.
Oh, wow. So you got yourself involved really quickly into the entertainment world involving Suge and stuff, right? For sure.
Yeah, what happened was we actually got him legally out of the contracts through a bankruptcy. We were able to get his rights, so Suge really couldn't, jam up the process. But we ended up, sitting down and talking to him, and he gave us the blessing, and we got started with a young man by the name of Corrupt. Was part of the Dog Pound with Daz, Nate Dogg, and all those great guys. Even Dr. Dre was involved back then, and we launched the record label.
Wow. And then it's kind of like you could have your own story about this as well, Joseph, it sounds like. There's more projects to be...
Yeah, I totally backed into it. I mean, I was doing criminal defense work, and I was always a big lover of the media and entertainment world of music, and just happened to be an opportunity, and we flew out to the coast and we made a deal with A&M Records and we launched our first project and we did well with it. And that's how the process began.
So you were talking about being involved in all these entertainers. Who did you kind of work with in your career so far that you can mention involving the record label and some of the people that you've run into in your career?
Well, we did a lot in music, in hip-hop, especially on the West Coast. Guys like Corrupt, Daz, Nate Dogg. Then we got involved with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. We went as far as dealing with guys like Limp Bizkit. I remember even the present day, we deal with different artists. We did a lot of films. We did a couple projects with Lauren Fishburne. A movie called O with Mekhi Phifer. So we've just involved ourselves. You just get involved with it over time, and we did a lot of different projects.
And during that time, you're in LA. I'm sure you've hit the red carpet a few times and met a lot of interesting people, right?
Yeah, I mean, you get to see everybody, but I think what it comes down to is, the success of your projects, and that's how, I ended up, dealing actually with one of my present clients who's a tremendous writer and producer who's done a lot in urban film, a guy by the name of Barry Michael Cooper. He's the guy that did New Jack City, did Above the Rim, Sugar Hill. Yeah, so he's one of my current partners and clients right now, and he's the one involved with me in our current movie and actually the TV show we're working on.
Wow, interesting, because I tell you that some of those movies are definitely cult classic favorites of mine for sure when you talk about certain ones. So yeah, that was pretty cool to start working with him and learn his genius and what he's done, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, literally, he's the godfather of. It's almost like what Mario Puzo is to the Italian world, he is to the urban world. That movie launched, I think, the so-called black gangster films, and there's been so many great films from that point. So his genius has been great, and he's involved with a project now that we really think is going to be exciting. Involves Malcolm X and the Black Panthers, about a bodyguard who was also a undercover police officer. So it's a hot topic. The movie should be going into production probably after the holidays, so we're excited about it.
What do you think, Joseph, now, you started in the music business, now you're getting involved in other types of things from TV to movies. What's the difference, the music business compared to movies and television, in your opinion, from what you're gathering so far?
Well, I mean, the music business, the problem with the music business over time, I mean, the evaluation of it, the ability to really make money as an artist kind of has gone away because of digital downloading. Right. You're relegated to doing shows, and you want to be able to you have to, instead of just being a singer, you got to build a brand, you got to create a visual. In TV and film, I mean, it's more tangible, it's more valuable. I mean, I think given the way streaming is, we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Is going to be enormous.
It is.
And the ability, to whether make short films or TV shows or movies, and to put them through the mechanism of streaming is going to be enormous. They're dying for content. So the great thing about that, it gives a lot of artists the opportunity to get their works out there, because there's going to be a lot of need for it. It's not like years ago where there was only so many movies that would be made and there's only so many channels. So it's really, we're on the horizon of a great opportunity that's going to happen in the entertainment world.
I've learned from Joseph, from interviewing and doing lots of radio tours, that there's so many different platforms now. That's the great thing of getting in this business, because pilot season never ends, Joseph. It never does, because there's so many different platforms and opportunities for actors and actresses and producers and stuff to come up with something and find that audience. That's what's great about it. And now you're not stuck to the 3 channels anymore. There's so many more opportunities, as you were talking about.
No, listen, these streaming outlets, and we all know about Netflix, that's kind of the king right now, but there's Amazon, Apple, Hulu, all these people are out there, and they have tons of money, and they're starving for content, which is great, because there is so many great artists, actors, just producers, directors, and it gives them an opportunity not only to get their works out to the public, but also to earn in this, this vast opportunity. And that's the exciting thing about what's happening. It's going to be 10 times whatever music was. I mean, music's going to become an element of it. Obviously, you get into the synchronization of music, it creates a valuation for an artist. So if you're an artist, maybe you would have never got your record played, but it's going to end up being on a project involving some streaming outlet, where therefore you're going to be able to A, earn, and B, get exploitation, which is really what it's all about.
All right. My co-host and producer, Peter Elvidge, has a question for you, Joseph. Peter, what's your question for Joseph?
Yeah, so I'm just kind of curious from my standpoint. Is I'm growing my network, and I'm actively seeking out, musical artists and or artists who are like actors, or just a video or musical type sense is what I'm actively seeking out. Is really great, positive, and awesome content. Like, as a person who's starting out, making a network for making these artists have the ability to stream their stuff, either musically or video-wise, what types of, what tip or suggestion would you give to me moving forward as being somewhat new to this aspect?
You as an artist, or you as a production company?
Production for him.
Sorry, me as a network.
Well, listen, there's so many avenues through social media. If you can, it doesn't take much to learn the trade of social media to get exploitation. I mean, it's about creating, and with technology today, I mean, you can create great content on your own.
Right.
I think it starts with the product. I mean, whatever you're going to do, you have to put out there. It has to be something of quality. I don't care if you have a venue to get it out there. And if you can do that, and you can get it out to the public, and you can get some notoriety through social media and learn the ways of enhancing that, I think then you can take that, you kind of make your relationships with various A&R people in these different outlets that are looking for product constantly. I mean, all of these major outlets, they scan social media, and they're always looking for what's hot. There's a lot of things there now, so sometimes, you got to go a little bit further by taking your product, showing them the exposure you're getting on social media. and try to create conversation if you're looking to try to get a deal. I mean, that's the best way to do it.
That's great. Great advice, Joseph. Yeah. Joseph, also the other project I don't know how much you can mention is the Netflix project, right? That's huge, right? You're excited, really excited.
Yeah,
about
I mean, we're a little bit under confidentiality constraints, but it's going to be an extremely exciting project, and TV show that's going to come out. Really can't say much about it, but I can tell you one thing: the things they're doing over there are unbelievable. When that company gets behind a project, they go all out, and as far as the specifics on this project, I'm really subject to a confidentiality. Can't speak about it, but it's something in the urban genre that's a remake that I think will be great.
All right. Oh, fantastic. Joseph, best place we can find information on you and stuff, follow you, learn more about you and all that. Definitely have to have you back on the show once you can announce these things for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I can tell you the stories about Suge Knight, so.
Oh, I'd love to talk about Suge. That's interesting. That's an interesting one. Now, but Joseph, best place we can find info, people follow you, where can we go?
Yeah, just go MarroneLawFirm.com. That's the way to get me. MarroneLawFirm.com.
All right. Well, thanks for calling, man. I appreciate you coming on and enjoyed the conversation and really interesting projects. We'll keep the hush hush going. We know you got some major things dealing, and best of luck. And update me when you have news. Okay.
Yeah. And look for that movie Watchtower coming in the spring by Michael Cooper. It's going to be a big play.
Absolutely.
Maybe another New Jack City. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you and Michael about that once it comes out. So definitely let's look into that, okay?
Absolutely, man. You
All
got
right.
it.
All right, Joseph. Take care.
All right, man. Good talking to you.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
This is the voice of Mr. Bold of BPTV, here to explain the basic do's and don'ts of BPTV and public access television. Number 1, public access television. Public access means that BPTV's facilities and equipment are available for any Bethel Park resident or organization to use for the purpose of making a TV program to air on our station. Number 2, not-for-profit. The nice part about this is that all of our equipment and facilities are available absolutely free of charge. Do not come to BPTV with the intention of starting your own home shopping network. Feel free to bring in your favorite waffle iron and demonstrate how it works, but do not ask Mr. Bold to help you sell your favorite waffle iron to the fine residents of Bethel Park. That will not happen. Number 3, volunteer-based production. Bethel Park Public Access Television has a friendly and helpful volunteer staff that will help you make your TV show. You are also encouraged to supply an individual who is willing to be trained on the equipment to help you tape your program. So, do expect to have all the resources and support you need to make a TV show that you will be proud of. Do not call us up like a station for hire and expect us to do everything for you. Number 4, your point of view. BPTV does not dictate or edit your program idea for content. The producer is responsible for the perspective, information, and all content included in their show. BPTV encourages you to make the type of shows you want to watch. However, Mr. Bold would like to remind you that freedom of speech is not the same as freedom from responsibility for what you say. You can say, "You, Dave Cable," but don't be surprised if you get beeped. Obscenity, threats, and slander are not protected under the First Amendment. So, do make the show that you want to watch. Do not be a schmuckatelli about it.